So we have got a S3 i9300 with a cracked top glass. The LCD and the touch seem to work perfectly fine. Just trying to get it in focus, there you go. But you can see there the cracks. Yeah, mainly damage to the top left. So it's a little video just to show you how we do it. Some people use a hairdryer or a heat gun to heat up. We use one of these. It's just a hot plate which allows you to heat this top plate to any temperature you like, and then sit it on there. So currently running at 85 degrees. We place that on there and allow the screen to heat up. You're doing that to loosen the glue underneath it, so we'll leave that for about 10 minutes and then I'll show you how to take it off. Right, so the screen has been heating up for about 10 minutes. Put a glove on because it's going to be hot. Yeah, pretty hot to the touch, you know, you don't want to leave your finger on there for too long. So what I want to do is get a razor blade or a flat tool and start off at the top and basically dig under very gently and start removing the top adhesive. And then what I like to do is use playing cards. So you get under where you've lifted up, put a card in there and just start loosening that adhesive. And you can see when you come around the corner, you can see the liquid underneath, which is the glue that you've now heated to such an extent where it becomes almost a liquid form. So you're just going to work your card down the side and move it across. And now you can see, if you remove the card, where you've removed and where is still stuck down. So I like to try and work quite evenly across both sides. So you want to sort of start on that side, carry on lifting, moving the card around, go on this side as well. So I'm going to use another card on this side now to take over. You want to work for about a minute to 30 seconds at a time, and once that's done you can just about see where I've started. And now what I'm going to do is put it back onto the hot plate and reattach it to the plate that warms it up, because you know, if you feel that now it's significantly a lower temperature than it was 30 seconds ago, obviously. So to ensure a smooth removal of this glass and that you don't damage the LCD and the touch, you need to reheat it, work on it and then reheat it. So I'm just going to pop that back on just like that and heat it up. So all we've done is move that across, face down, still with the cards in, just to reheat it up back to optimum temperature, and then we'll move it across and start to remove the glass again. So I'm just trying to get a slightly better view for you, where you can see where the sort of glue, where you've taken it off so far and to the point where you haven't taken it off. Hopefully you can see that. Right, so we're just going to carry on working along just like we were before. Nice and gentle, nice and slow. You've got to be willing to just take your time a little bit. You rush it, you'll break it. Just working your way nice and slow, and you can sort of tell once you've done it a few times, you can tell when the glue is starting to firm up and the temperature is becoming, well, not warm enough, and the glue is starting to reset almost. So, you know, you'll just have to get a little bit of a feel for it, and you'll get that with experience. I use playing cards because obviously you get, you know, 52 of them in a pack, so you can use them, just throw them away. It's a very cheap tool to be able to use, but they seem to do the job quite well. They seem to have the flexibility and the sort of dexterity that you want from something in this sort of tool. Because I don't like using anything metal, because obviously you're trying to protect that LCD and the digitizer. And somebody said to me that the sort of thickness and how delicate that the touchscreen is about an eggshell sort of thickness and how delicate it is. So if you imagine how easy it is to break an eggshell, so you've got to be very, very slow, take your time, you know, you've got to allocate yourself at least half an hour. Right, okay, so we've done a little bit more. Hopefully you can see a little bit where we've done and where we haven't done. So again, just this section here that's left, that's still bonded, and this is now completely free of the LCD, and this would lift up very easily if you just put something under it. You can see that's very loose. The only thing that's keeping that down is probably the little bit of adhesive just under the earpiece mesh here. Right, so I'm going to reheat this and then we'll do the last little bit. Right, so the another few minutes of heating. Now again, fresh off of there, you can just feel how hot it is, and then you're just going to move your playing card or whatever you're going to use, nice and slowly. I don't know how clear it picks it up on the video, but it's very clear when you're looking at it this close to it, how the fluid is moving along and how you're removing the top glass that's stuck to it. So now you're at the bottom. Bottom bit is a little bit trickier because you've got a flex cable that operates the buttons and the lights at the bottom. So you need to go round it almost. Around the edge here is just double-sided tape rather than the Loca glue they use to bond the LCD. So you just want to go around the edge, like that thickness between the edge of the glass and the home button. So, you know, 2 or 3 mil is about how much tape is around the edge before you hit the flex. So you just want to loosen that double-sided tape up. There we go. So we take out a couple of cards. So just going to make sure this adhesive at the top is loose. So I'm just going to run the card just over everything, just because there's a little bit of glue still stuck. It's not stuck to the screen, but I just don't want to cause any damage. Right, so you can tell from that angle that it's completely detached. So I'm going to take my glove off now. So you want to lift it with the home button facing away from you. You want to lift it up. And what you'll have to do now is gently prise. It's very difficult to actually try and show you, but I'll try and show you from this angle. You can see at the very bottom the sort of flex is still half stuck to the glass, half stuck to the chassis. You just have to use a pair of tweezers or a flat-headed screwdriver. not too sure if you're actually getting to see this. And you just have to peel it away slightly. Obviously it's this button stuck to here. See if I can focus in any better. Turn my laptop screen off, you might be able to see it a little bit. Right, so obviously this button here and this button here, they're stuck to there and there, so you just have to make sure you peel them off. And then once you've peeled them off, you can sort of just remove this screen. And that is the top glass that you're going to be replacing. I know it looks a bit of a mess at the moment, but we're going to clean that up and hopefully it works. So at this point, when you think you've done a good job, what you're going to have to do is get a bit nervous, because put a battery in it and then turn it on, and that is what you want to see. You want to see a clean black image with the text in the middle that it's actually turning on. Now the secondary part is obviously to test if you've damaged the touchscreen, because if you've damaged either the LCD or the touch, you won't be able to use it anymore and you'll just have to buy a new one. So a new LCD and digitizer and all that will cost you probably 80 odd quid, and obviously doing it this way, the glass is about £5. So that seems to be okay. So it's probably best just to go phone and then just have a quick touch on the numbers. Yep, so it looks like you, in this case, have removed the top glass successfully without damaging the digitizer or the LCD. And obviously give the home button a click, and if it goes back to that screen, then you know you haven't damaged the bottom flex as well. And it was also a case where these buttons lit up, so you know you haven't damaged those. So the next stage in doing the replacement is to now clean the area that you're going to be putting on the new screen. So what you need to do is have a little clean-up job, really. So right, let's get ourselves set up for the clean. Right, so some of the glue would have been stuck to the glass when you've taken it off, and if you, again, I can't quite see if you can see it on camera, but you can actually see where just the LCD is and the touch is, and then where the glue is left as well. So all you're going to do is use a very magical tool called your finger, and literally just gently start rubbing where you can see the glue, and you're going to roll it up. It's quite tacky and quite sticky, but you can feel it, but you can see very easily that you don't need to use any force at all. I'm not even touching the screen, I'm just literally rolling the glue. Just nice and gentle, keep on rolling it, and you're going to basically do that all the way around. Now this is quite different to the S4. This is a lot easier than the S4, that's why I much prefer doing these S3s. The glue just seems to be so much easier just to remove. I mean, this will take 5 minutes to remove all the glue before you put a new screen on, but the S4, you could spend half an hour cleaning it. So you can just see where we started from here. All this glue comes off in a nice piece, because it looks like they actually use a ochre glue, OCA glue sheet in the manufacturing process of this, not the Loca glue that we will use. It's just a different form of type of glue of bonding the screen, rather instead of using a liquid form they use a sort of pre-cut adhesive, and they put it into an autoclave to do the sealant and remove any bubbles. But I haven't got an autoclave here yet. I am actually ordering one because I'm going to start using doing a bit more of a mass production screen refurbing processes on iPhones, but not so much the Samsungs. So the Samsungs, we use the Loca glue method. So again, this is what you're doing. You just roll in your finger over that screen and getting off all the glue residue. Now I'll show you in a second the other glue residue. how to get that off, but at the moment you're just concentrating on getting the big clumps off. So you can see the adhesive tape that's still left on the side of the frame. I mean, it's full of rubbish really, it's not really quite tacky at all. So yeah, I mean, you can peel that off. I mean, I find that the Loca glue that you use to bond the screen is actually good enough to hold the new glass in place, that you don't actually need to replace this sort of sticky tape. But it's personal preference, it's whatever you want to do. If you want to replace it, if you want to leave it in, you can do. Right, okay, so we've pretty been rolling all around the screen. We've got the majority of all the little pieces off, and now we're just going to deal with the last little few loose bits of glue and give the screen a quick clean. So I'm just going to get tidied up a second and I will come back and show you how to do it. 1 second. Right, so I'm going to use some acetone, which is a liquid that is used to remove glue residue really. They use it in nail bars and things like that. So these little cloths are the little free cloths you get with screen protectors that we have quite a large collection of, but you can also we sometimes buy packs of lint free cloth, which is good. Try and leave no sort of dust and that on the screen once you've given it a little clean. So you can sort of see now that just after a few seconds of rubbing a little bit of acetone into the areas, that the glue residue, the little excess bits of glue, have pretty much come off. So I'm just going to work in this top corner now. So it's really gentle rubbing. You know, you don't have to put any force behind it at all, because simply any force will really leave you breaking the touch, and it's a shame to get to this stage in the process and then obviously break the digitizer, because as I said, you can't replace just the digitizer on these. So in a very short amount of time you really have taken off pretty much 99% of the original glue residue. And there's going to be some excess bits around the earpiece on here, because this is still a bit tacky up here where you've removed the glue, so it just sticks to it. So once you're happy that you've got rid of pretty much 99% of the glue on the actual LCD and touch here, once you've got it to around that sort of stage, which I would say is just one little bit in the corner, so you know, 99% of the glue removed, then you're happy with it. So something about that sort of standard. And then what you want to do is obviously, again, make sure that in removing the glue and cleaning the screen and all these wonderful things, that you haven't done any damage again. So you're going to just give the screen another retest. So just turn it on, make sure everything comes up okay, just make sure the touch works. Obviously it's going to leave a fingerprint on the screen, you know, that's just one of those things that you just have to clean away again, because you have to be able to test the screen just to make sure you haven't done any damage. So the difference between the S3 and the S4 is the flex cable on the S3 is in the bottom right. When it's on the S4, it's actually on the top left. So you have to be extra careful when you're beginning the screen process, when coming around the edges, that you don't tear or bump into the ribbon cable so much. Alright, so it looks okay. Swipes across, absolutely fine. Let's go into the numbers. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, it's absolutely fine. Alright, so we'll turn that off again. Another little sigh of relief that you haven't killed it. Hey, it was winding me up then. Right, that's off, happy days. So the next stage is applying your new glass. Right, so let's get that set up. Right, so for the final stage of putting the new glass on, you're going to need a couple of things. So, Loca glue. liquid glue, effectively. It's liquid optical clear adhesive, I think that's what it stands for. So you're going to need to put that on the screen. Going to get a new glass, put the new glass on this one here, and then you need a UV light or several UV lights to cure, to firm up the Loca glue once you've put it on the LCD. So you put the LCD glue, the Loca glue on top of the LCD, pop your new screen on, push all the glue so it's, you know, all around the edges, cure it under that. Bosh. Right, here we go. Okay. So, time to put the glue on. The one thing you want to be careful of is putting too much glue in this top corner, because once you push down on the glass to squeeze out the bubbles, what you'll do is you'll push glue over the front camera, and then when it's cured, your front camera just won't work because it will be surrounded in solid glue. So just to judge the pace of how quickly it comes out, just stick something in the end, give it a little push. I would always start in this corner. So nice little push, and you want to create this sort of giant X. I would say that is about right. So again, there's a couple of videos you can watch, there's different methods, people do different things, but this is just my way of doing it, you know. You can do it another way. Right, peel off your plastic film on your glass that I have done. Now I understand that we've taken off a blue glass and put on a white glass, but it's what the customer wants. So, you put your, line up the earpiece over the glass so you know it's lined up. And then you want to use just the end of your tweezers to hold this end of the glass, and then you want to gently lower it down, and it will make contact obviously at the top first, and when it makes contact you'll see a little squidge. There you go. So then nice and gently just let it work down. The slower it makes contact, the less bubbles that you'll have. I think it's pretty much a good way to go. So pretty much leave it off. So you can see where it's made contact. You can see bubble 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 bubbles that you're working with now. So you've got to spread the glue out, and you do that just by putting a little bit of pressure. So this bubble is pretty low. So again, if you put your finger on the screen and just gently push down on this new glass, you can see the glue spreading outwards, and you will get overflow of glue coming out this edge and this edge, which is fine, it just wipes away, it's no problem. So you just want to try and spread the glue evenly. You can see it moving, going in different places. You don't want to push too hard up here because you don't want the glue seeping too much into these buttons. You don't want to push it too hard up here because you don't want it seeping into this, you know, your top camera. The sides are a little bit easier because it just comes out over the top and then you just wipe it away. So you can see where the glue is going. Still got a big bubble here. You've just got to move it around a little bit. So nicely pushing it down, pushing it down, pushing it down. You can see the bubble moving, you can see it travelling, so you know it's going to come out. You just got to slowly work it out. And you can actually see the glue just coming over the top here as well, so you can wipe that away. You can do it after you cured it, but then the glue's solid and cured, and then you're trying to wipe away hard glue and you've got to use a knife to try and get it off. So you can just work those bubbles out. Gently, really, you know, not pushing majorly hard. It's quite gentle, but it doesn't need that huge amount of force. So, you know, you're checking your camera lens, that hasn't come through. You're just wiping down the edges, just for that excess. Right, so now, pretty much, you're covered at all angles. So you can see that now the glue has run to all the corners, it's fine. And then all you do, get your UV. See, if you let go of it, sometimes the bubbles will creep back. So what you've got to do is put a little bit of pressure on to cure it. So you can go sideways, literally wipe glue off, a little bit of pressure, and then just hold it under. Now, to cure this, you're only looking at about 30 to 40 seconds. I'm going to lift the camera up so you can try and see a little bit better. So 30 to 40 seconds in there will enable you to then remove your hand and the bubbles won't creep back in. But if you just hold a little bit of pressure on the glass, just for that first initial cure, 30-40 seconds, and then when you let go, I leave it under there for 5 minutes, because that's the final stage now, just making sure that the glue sets correctly, that you've got a good bond between the LCD, the touch and the top glass. So wait for like 30 seconds and then you can let go. You can see the bubbles haven't crept back, and then basically chuck it in under there, and I think I will leave that for 5 minutes. Right, so we've had 5 minutes under the light, under the UV light. So what you're going to have to do now is get your acetone back out again, a little bit of cloth, a little bit of acetone, and then just give this top glass a little wipe, and that will get rid of any excess glue that's come around the corner. You can just see a little bit here. See if I can clean that up a second. Yeah, so you just need to get rid of that glue that's just come over, that's now cured. So just with a plastic tool, you can just give it a little scrape. It's like when it's cured, it's like a gel. So give it a little. So again, a bit more acetone, a bit more cleaning, just to make sure you get that nice finish, because it is a new piece of glass. Right. And once you've given it a good clean with a bit of acetone, and you've got off any excess glue and fingerprints and things like that, and then all I use is the plastic film that came with the glass originally, just to make it look nice for when the customer gets it. So then you just got to do a final test. So we cleaned off all the front, we put the plastic film on it just so it's nice and new for the customer when they come and collect it, or if it's just for yourself, then you can just give it a clean, give it a dry, and you're good to go. So you try to make sure everything works one final time. I can see no glue has run into the camera lens there, so I'm sure that's going to be fine. So one final lock, or unlock rather. Yeah, all seems fine. All numbers work, back works. These buttons down here work. Bosh, job done. And that is how you replace the top glass on a S3. So there you go. Any questions, you can leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to sort of help and try and advise anyone. But there you go. Thanks very much.